Have you ever noticed how some women seem to float through summer while we, mere mortals, melt like cheap ice cream on the sidewalk? Just yesterday, I was watching Succession and thought, Shiv Roy manages to look impeccable even on a yacht, in 104 degrees Fahrenheit heat while plotting against her own brother. And what about the women of Bridgerton who, despite suffocating corsets and layers of fabric, maintained that unwavering elegance even in scorching heat? I was at a cafe last week and saw two women entering almost simultaneously. The first one, poor thing, looked like she had just survived a hurricane. Disheveled hair, wrinkled clothes, sweating as if she had run a marathon. The second, she walked in as if the 95-degree heat outside was just a gentle breeze, impeccable from hair to sandals. Same city, same climate, completely different women. What did one know that the other didn't? Just imagine. While half of the women look like they've been dragged across the floor of a shopping mall at the end of a sale, the other half walks as if they had an invisible fan accompanying every step. What's the secret? It's not special genes, it's not unlimited money. It's choices, my dear friend. Precise, strategic choices that, fortunately for us, are completely replicable. Hi, I'm Carol, and before you realize it, you've already fallen into my elegance trap. And don't worry, I'm not one of those women who was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, giving impossible-to-follow advice. I'm a 39-year-old woman who discovered after many embarrassing mistakes, which I might share if you stay until the end, that elegance isn't a matter of luck, but strategy. By the way, if you want to avoid looking like a lost tourist on your next vacation, don't forget to check out my ebook, Be Elegant When Traveling, Global Etiquette for the Sophisticated Traveler. The link is in the first pinned comment. It has been saving women from disaster in Paris, Milan, and even tropical destinations. And since you've made it this far, why not subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a like? After all, an elegant woman is intelligent and knows how to recognize valuable content when she sees it. And between us, isn't it better to invest 5 minutes watching this video than spending hours browsing fashion websites that only show impractical looks for everyday life? Do you know what the biggest drama of summer is? When the temperature rises, the level of vulgarity on the streets also skyrockets. Suddenly, it's as if all rules of elegance melt along with the asphalt. But this doesn't have to happen to you. Summer, with all its relentless heat, doesn't need to be an excuse to abandon sophistication. Last weekend, I was at a seaside restaurant. At the next table, a group of women who clearly hadn't seen this video. Tiny tops, shorts that looked more like underwear, melting makeup, a true parade of what not to do. In dramatic contrast, a lady of about 50, sitting alone, reading a book. Knee-length linen dress, elegant hat, not a visible drop of sweat. Guess who everyone was looking at with admiration? It wasn't the noisy group, I can assure you. We need a strategic plan for summer. Pieces that are breathable, comfortable, but that never, ever make us look like we forgot our dignity at home along with the cardigan. And that's how my definitive list of essential pieces for an elegant summer was born. These aren't fleeting trends you'll see in store windows today and in the trash tomorrow. They're smart investments that transform any basic wardrobe into an arsenal of sophistication. What irritates me most about fashion tips out there is that they almost always seem written for teenagers or millionaires, as if we all were 20 years old with unlimited bank accounts. But what about real women? Those who, like me, love luxury but aren't oil heiresses? Who have curves, responsibilities, and a busy life to manage? Last time I opened a renowned fashion magazine, there was an editorial about affordable summer essentials. The cheapest item cost $2,500. Excuse me, but in what universe is that affordable? In my calculations, that means choosing between having a new wardrobe or paying the condo fees for a few months. And guess what? I prefer not to have my name on a credit blacklist. Well, the list I've prepared is for us, women who want to look elegant without selling a kidney, who value quality, but know that not every investment needs to have 4 digits. Women who understand that elegance isn't about blindly following trends, but about choosing what truly enhances us. And before you think, here comes another generic list, let me reassure you, I won't tell you to buy a basic white t-shirt as if that were a divine revelation. We'll go far beyond the obvious with combinations, tricks, and secrets that really work in the real world. Have you ever caught yourself buying that essential piece that all fashion websites recommend, only to discover that it hangs in your closet with the tag still on? I have. That white silk shirt that looked perfect on the 5'11", 110-pound model, but on me looked like a poorly ironed sheet? Well, We won't do that here. The summer of 2025 brought a new wave of meaningful minimalism. Pieces with functional details and attention to small touches that elevate the look without seeming like you're trying too hard. That's exactly what an elegant woman seeks. To look perfectly put together without appearing to have taken hours to get ready. First essential piece, a polka dot dress in a modern silhouette. Forget the outdated association with the 50s. The polka dots of 2025 are sophisticated and current. Sophia, my stylist friend, always says that polka dots are like red lipstick for your wardrobe. Classic, but always current. The other day, I wore a black and white polka dot midi dress for a business lunch. The cut was simple, but the pattern did all the work. I paired it with minimalist accessories, and believe me, I received more compliments that day than when I wear much more expensive pieces. It's the type of dress that works for both breakfast and dinner, depending on the accessories. That, dear friend, is what I call elegant versatility. If you're one of those who thinks polka dots don't work for me, let me demystify. The secret is in the size of the pattern. Small polka dots tend to be more refined and less costume-like. And as for color, classic black and white never fails, but a navy blue with white or even an olive green with white can be surprisingly sophisticated. Second piece, well-structured capri pants. Yes, they're back, but forget the fitness versions from the 2000s. The capri pants of 2025 are sophisticated, with impeccable tailoring. They're the perfect middle ground for those who find shorts vulgar and long pants suffocating. A friend of mine, one of those naturally elegant ones, the type who seems to have been born with an etiquette manual, has always been a fan of capri pants. While all of us were suffocating in jeans during summer, she maintained that fresh and composed aura. Now I understand her secret. It wasn't genetics. It was an intelligent wardrobe choice. And no, I'm not talking about those tight capris that look like they've been painted on your legs. I'm referring to models with impeccable fit, preferably in noble fabrics like linen or quality cotton. They can be paired with practically any type of footwear, from discreet flats to kitten heel sandals for more formal occasions. Third piece, a light silk scarf. Don't underestimate the transformative power of this seemingly simple accessory. A well-positioned scarf is like that Instagram filter that instantly improves everything. It adds color, texture, and that je ne sais quoi that separates the basic from the sophisticated. I was watching Emily in Paris. I know, the series has its problems, but I confess it's my guilty pleasure. And I noticed how the character Sylvie always had a strategically positioned scarf, even on the hottest days. It wasn't by chance. Besides adding a touch of color to her predominantly neutral look, the scarf gave her an authority that no other piece could achieve. My favorite scarf was a gift from my sister, navy blue with subtle geometric details. It's my trick to save any look that seems monotonous. A simple black dress, add a scarf, a basic white t-shirt. The scarf elevates the look in seconds. And the best part, it takes up practically no space in your bag, being the perfect item to carry in your fashion emergency bag. And before you say, but a scarf in the heat? Component placement. Let me clarify. We're talking about light fabrics like silk or fine linen, not those winter scarves. A well-chosen scarf can even help protect your neck and shoulders from the sun, combining functionality with elegance. Fourth piece, a well-structured linen vest. Replace the basic t-shirt with a tailored vest and watch the magic happen. It's still fresh, breathable, but infinitely more sophisticated. Tailoring makes all the difference in the heat. Well-cut pieces seem lighter, even when they're not. I remember watching The Crown and being impressed with Princess Diana's wardrobe during her visits to tropical countries. Even under the scorching sun, she frequently opted for structured vests that gave her an impeccable silhouette without sacrificing comfort. If it worked for her under the critical eyes of millions, it will certainly work for us in our daily commitments. 2 summers ago, I invested in a beige linen vest. It was a purchase I hesitated over, thinking it might be too office-like for hot days. Big mistake. It became the wild card of my summer wardrobe. It combines with absolutely everything, from flowing skirts to light-tailored pants. It's that piece that makes people ask if you just returned from Europe, even when your reality was just a weekend at your mother's house. And a secret. The structured vest is a blessing for those who, like me, have that complicated relationship with their arms. Without being too obvious, it strategically covers that area that many of us prefer not to display, but without the heat of a full sleeve. Who said elegance can't also be about intelligent camouflage? Fifth piece, a minimalist black dress. Every wardrobe needs a piece for those days when you simply don't have patience for anything. The black dress is your insurance against "I have nothing to wear" days. You know those days when you wake up late, have 1,000 commitments, and your mind simply can't coordinate an outfit? That's what the black dress is for. It's the fashion equivalent of pressing the easy solution button. It's no wonder millions of women around the world, from different cultures and social statuses, have at least one in their wardrobe. My current black dress has a slightly sporty cut, with a fabric that looks simple but falls impeccably. I can wear it with sneakers during the day and completely transform it with a beaded necklace and more elaborate sandals at night. It's like having two dresses in one, and who doesn't love a good cost benefit? And here's a trick. Choose a black dress in natural fabric like cotton, linen, or a viscose blend that is light and flows well. Avoid polyester in the heat at all costs, unless you want to create your own tropical microclimate under your clothes. Believe me, I've been through that experience, and it was not pleasant to leave a meeting looking like I had just come out of a sauna. Sixth piece, a statement skirt. Summer usually means simple looks. A top, a bottom. When both are basic, the result can look, well, too basic. That's why I always have a skirt with personality, printed, with a different cut, or in a vibrant color. I recently watched a documentary about Iris Apfel, a true fashion legend who, even at 103, continues to be a style icon. One thing she always says is that every look needs at least one element of interest, something that attracts the eye and generates conversation. In summer, when layers are minimal, that element often needs to come from the main piece. I have a midi skirt with a floral print in shades of green and blue that always makes an impact. I remember wearing it to a brunch where everyone was in jeans and a t-shirt. I wasn't more dressed up than anyone, but I looked infinitely more prepared and elegant. That's the power of a well-chosen statement piece. And the best thing about the statement skirt? It does all the work for you. Pair it with a basic top, a well-cut white t-shirt, a quality tank top, and voila, you look like you put in much more effort than you actually did. It's what I call the diva effect without drama, looking phenomenal without having to stress in the morning. Seventh piece, a structured straw or raffia bag. It adds texture, which is exactly what summer looks usually need. And honestly, it looks much more interesting than traditional leather bags, which can visually weigh down light fabrics. Some trends come and go, but the straw or raffia bag in summer is practically timeless. From the iconic images of Jane Birkin in the 60s to today's it girls, this accessory has crossed decades without losing relevance. Why? Because it works perfectly with the light aesthetics of summer, adding natural texture to looks that otherwise might seem flat. My straw bag is 5 years old and continues to be my faithful summer companion. It complements everything from beach looks to more casual evening outings. It's that accessory that makes people think you made an effort, when in fact you just made a smart choice. Eighth piece, black and white printed pants or skirts. Following the same logic as the statement skirt, black and white prints are absolute wildcards. Since they don't have saturated colors, you have total freedom to pair them with practically any piece in your wardrobe. Black linen pants with thin white stripes completely transformed my last summer. They perfectly matched all my blouses and t-shirts, making the process of getting dressed in the morning absurdly easy. And more importantly, they always made me look put together and intentional, even on the hottest and most challenging days. Here's a valuable tip. If you have wider hips, opt for vertical stripes. If you have broader shoulders, smaller geometric prints can better balance your silhouette. Remember that prints aren't just decorative. They're powerful tools for creating visual illusions that favor us. Ninth essential piece, suede sandals. For the summer of 2025, suede sandals have established themselves as a must-have item. They add a polished touch to any combination of jeans, skirt, or dress. I was at a fashion fair in March this year, and it was impressive to see how practically all brands had their version of suede sandals. From the most exclusive designer brands to more accessible ones, all bet on this material for summer. What once seemed a contradiction, suede, a material traditionally associated with winter in the heat, is now almost a code of sophistication. When I bought my navy blue suede sandals, I thought I was being extravagant. After all, suede in summer? It seemed counterintuitive, but they quickly became my most versatile footwear of the season. The contrast between the more sophisticated material and the casual climate of summer creates a perfect balance, neither too formal nor too casual. An important warning: suede requires special care, especially in summer when sweat and humidity can be problems. Apply a suede protector before using for the first time and keep your shoes away from water. If you live in an extremely humid region, perhaps it's better to opt for a leather alternative that mimics the texture of suede. And finally, the 10th piece, a structured medium-brimmed hat. I'm not talking about those huge beach hats that seem to have a life of their own. A well-proportioned hat protects from the sun without completely dominating your look. Dermatologists never stop warning us about the dangers of sun exposure, especially for facial skin. But let's be honest, how many times have you skipped sunscreen because it would ruin your makeup? An elegant hat not only complements your look but offers real protection against those UVA/UVB rays that cause premature aging. Basically, it's an investment in style and health. Last month, I was at an outdoor lunch where the sun was punishing mercilessly. Half the women looked uncomfortable, trying to hide in the small shadows available. The other half was hiding behind enormous sunglasses, clearly suffering from the heat. There I was, comfortable with my structured straw hat, enjoying the moment without any discomfort, protection and style in a single piece. Isn't that what true elegance is about? And for those who think hats don't match their face shape, let's demystify. It's all a matter of proportion. Round faces go well with straight-brimmed hats that add angles. Elongated faces look better with wider brims that soften. And square faces benefit from hats with curved brims, which contrast with harder lines. Everyone can wear a hat. It's just about finding the right model. The secret of these 10 pieces isn't just about owning them, but knowing how to combine them. An elegant woman isn't one who has more, but one who does more with what she has. For example, the linen vest with capri pants and the silk scarf, an unbeatable combination for any daytime occasion. I was at a cafe last week observing the people around me. A lady of approximately 60 entered, wearing exactly that combination: structured vest, capri pants, and a delicate scarf that seemed to dance with the air conditioning breeze. She radiated that tranquil confidence that only comes when you feel impeccable. They weren't extraordinary pieces individually, but together, they created a cohesive look that declared, "I care about my appearance, but I'm not a slave to it." Or the minimalist black dress with suede sandals and the straw bag. Perfect for a casual but sophisticated dinner. The possibilities are practically endless when you invest in pieces that really work together. The math is simple. With these 10 essential pieces, you can easily create more than 30 different looks. Compare that with a wardrobe of 30 random pieces that might generate only 15 truly usable combinations. It's about strategic quality, not unnecessary quantity. And here's a secret that fashion magazines won't tell you. Elegance in summer isn't about following trends. It's about consistency. It's about creating a personal style that works with the heat, not against it. It's adapting the fundamentals of sophistication to higher temperatures without compromising your principles. When we observe naturally elegant women, we notice that they don't seem to be in costume or uncomfortable. True elegance seems effortless, as if that person simply woke up like that. But we know it's not true. It's the result of intelligent and consistent choices. When I was 25, I used to think I needed to buy new clothes for every important occasion. Result? A closet full of pieces worn only once, a maxed-out credit card, and, ironically, always the feeling of having nothing to wear. It was only when I started to build a more intentional wardrobe that I realized less really can be more, as long as that less is extremely well thought out. It's not about having an extensive wardrobe, but an intelligent one. Pieces that talk to each other, that can be recombined in different ways, that resist fleeting trends. I have a friend who frequently travels for work and manages to spend an entire week away with just a carry-on bag. Her secret? All her pieces work together in multiple combinations. While other colleagues drag huge suitcases and still complain they forgot something essential, she floats through the airport with her small suitcase, always impeccable, always suitable for any unforeseen situation. Speaking of trends, have you noticed how the most enduring ones always return to classic aesthetics? Polka dots, navy stripes, clean cuts. There's a reason for this. They work. They're not just beautiful. They're functional, versatile, and timeless. And isn't it amazing how the same women who promote "be yourself" are the first to judge who doesn't follow the season's trends? True female liberation includes the freedom to choose your own style, to invest in pieces that really reflect who you are, not who fashion magazines say you should be this month. Last month, I participated in an event where a guest wore an outfit that clearly was more than 10 years old. Instead of looking outdated, she looked timeless. as if she were above the frantic fluctuations of fashion. Later, I discovered she was a respected stylist who faithfully followed her own philosophy. Only buy what you'll still love a decade from now. That's why I love these essential pieces I've listed so much. They don't imprison you in a specific aesthetic. They give you the foundation to express your own personality within the limits of elegance. And for women who argue they don't have natural style or fashion intuition, that's a myth. Elegance can be learned just like any other skill. It's a language with its own grammar and vocabulary. These 10 essential pieces are like your intensive vocabulary course. Mastering how to combine them is learning the grammar. Because, let's agree, there are limits. Elegance isn't subjective as they try to make us believe. It has rules, yes. Not arbitrary rules created to oppress us, but time-tested principles that simply work. Like the golden ratio in architecture, there's something intrinsically harmonious in certain combinations. We are bombarded daily with messages that rules were made to be broken and be authentic at any cost. But there's a fine line between authenticity and carelessness, between purposefully breaking rules and simply ignoring them out of laziness. Coco Chanel, one of the greatest fashion revolutionaries, perfectly knew the rules before deciding which ones were worth breaking. One last thing I learned: never, ever economize on fabrics. Cheap linen looks exactly what it is: cheap. A synthetic silk doesn't breathe like natural silk. And in the heat, that makes all the difference. If you need to choose, have fewer pieces but of better quality. And here's a secret I discovered by accident. If you still don't have the means to invest in high-quality pieces, there are excellent online thrift stores specializing in luxury clothes. A vintage silk brand name blouse can cost the same as a new fast fashion one, but the difference in quality and durability is absurd. Plus, it's much more sustainable. I remember a trip last summer. The heat was intense, suffocating even. I observed the women on the street. The tourists seemed uncomfortable, sweaty, constantly adjusting their clothes. The locals, accustomed to the climate, moved with grace, seemed fresh even under the scorching sun. The difference? It wasn't genetics or luck. It was the natural fabrics, the appropriate cuts, the intelligent combinations. This reminds me of a fascinating conversation I had with a 70-year-old Italian lady during a flight. Always elegant, always composed, she confided in me that she never spent fortunes on clothes. Her secret was simple: knowing her body perfectly, investing in timeless quality pieces, and keeping them impeccable. Elegance is not in the label, she said, but in the fit and attitude. I'm not saying we need to dress as if we were royalty for a simple coffee. Modern elegance is adaptable, functional, but there is a perfect balance between comfort and sophistication, and that's exactly what these essential pieces provide. I recently met a woman who constantly travels between tropical climates and major urban centers. Her biggest challenge has always been to stay elegant in both contexts. Her solution? A capsule wardrobe based on many of the pieces I mentioned today. Versatility is my greatest luxury, she told me. In a world where we're always on the move, being able to adapt without compromising style is truly valuable. When we understand that elegance is a daily choice, not an unattainable state, everything changes. Suddenly, we're no longer chasing an impossible image, but consistently building our best version. I was watching a program where they discreetly interviewed the guests at a gala event. They asked, "Whose dress are you wearing?" The answers were almost always about the brand. But there was one woman whose answer struck me. "It's mine," she said simply. It didn't matter who had designed it. She had incorporated it so completely that it became part of her, not a piece borrowed for the occasion. And isn't that what we all want? To be recognized not for what we wear, but for how we present ourselves to the world? Clothing is just the wrapper. True elegance comes from within, but the right wardrobe choices certainly help express it. One of my most elegant friends has only a third of my wardrobe. However, she always seems perfectly dressed for any occasion. Her secret? Each piece she owns was chosen with intention. Each combination was thought out in advance. She doesn't buy on impulse, doesn't get carried away by sales, doesn't acquire something just because it's in fashion. If it doesn't match with at least 3 items I already have, she explained to me once, it doesn't enter my closet. If you're starting your elegance journey now, don't feel overwhelmed. Start with 1 or 2 of these essential pieces and build gradually. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your elegant wardrobe won't be either. I confess that my own transformation didn't happen overnight. I went through an embarrassing phase of trying all trends. I have compromising photos with super low-waisted pants that will never see the light of day. Another phase of thinking I needed to spend a lot to look well-dressed, and finally, the illumination phase. Intentional simplicity. Remember that the goal isn't to look perfect, but intentional, as if every choice you made had a purpose. Because it does. The elegant woman isn't a victim of fashion or climate. She adapts both to her reality, creating a personal style that works for her life, not against it. The other day, I heard a conversation between two women. One was advising the other on how to dress for an important interview. Be yourself, she said, but the most polished version of yourself. I found that brilliant. It's not about disguising yourself as someone else, but about presenting your best possible version. And if you've stayed until here, you've already proven that you have the most important ingredient of elegance, dedication. Because yes, it requires effort. Not the desperate effort of someone trying to impress, but the tranquil commitment of someone who values personal presentation as a form of respect to oneself and to others. One last reflection before we say goodbye. I often hear women saying they don't have time to think about fashion. I understand perfectly. I also have a busy life with 1,000 responsibilities. But that's precisely why a well-planned wardrobe is essential. When you have versatile pieces that work together, dressing well takes less time than dressing poorly. You eliminate those precious minutes of morning indecision, that feeling of I have nothing to wear despite a full closet. If you liked this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave your like. And of course, check out my ebook, Be Elegant When Traveling. The link is in the first pinned comment. I guarantee it will transform your next trip, making you feel like a sophisticated traveler in any destination. And if you have any specific questions or want suggestions for a special occasion, leave them in the comments. I'm always reading and trying to respond as much as possible. Remember, summer may be hot, but your style can be even hotter. Until next time.